Hey you all, Carpetbagger here. It's April 1st, 2017, and a reminder, I've spoken about this before, I do not celebrate April Fool's Day. I do not acknowledge April Fool's Day. It is not practiced in my home. I do not support a holiday that is based around making people feel confused and disappointed. So, enough of that. Beginning my day here. I'm not sure how far I'm going to travel, exactly what I'm going to tackle here. Kind of how I do these road trips is I try to see as many things as I possibly can and film them, and then upload the individual sites when I get home. My hope here with these vlogs is kind of give daily updates on what I'm doing, kind of show the in-between of that. We'll see how that pans out. I stayed at the Red Roof Inn last night here in Durham, North Carolina, and I usually use Priceline to find hotels. You can find some pretty cheap deals on there, and I'm very cheap. And as far as like not spending a lot of money on hotels, this was under $50. I found that Red Roof Inn is pretty reliable in that cheap as dirt range. Not the most fancy, but for the most part they're not nasty or gross. So if that's an endorsement, then I've spent, you could stay at a good $35 hotel, as you go over to watch Dan Bell's Another Dirty Room. You see that that can backfire very easily. But so far, good luck with these Red Roof Inns. I'm finding consistently that as far as the cheap hotels in the area, they're ones that you're not going to get stabbed at or catch a disease. But all right, let's see how this day pans out. Now, one thing that's like a necessity for me is this Roadside America app. It kind of helps you locate just kind of some strange and unusual stuff. It's really good on when you're traveling long distances, just periodically checking it and see if there's anything in the area worth checking out. And this robot tobacco farmer is something I do really want to see. Apparently it's super creepy and awesome. Unfortunately, it's a museum, so it doesn't open till 10. It's 6:52 right now, and I wanted to get some distance. So these are some of the hard decisions I have to make, especially with these small museums. A lot of times they have very restricted hours, so I can't just plan to hit every one. I have to time very carefully where I'm going to be. In part of these days, these small museums are the hardest things to schedule for because things that are outside or things that don't require admission, you can show up at any time. That's great, but these museums, you have to make important decisions, and sadly there will be no animatronic tobacco farmer today, but I will see him someday. I will be back here to visit him eventually. Now, for me, sometimes it's hard to listen to music like for 6 hours while driving all at once. So I've been getting really into podcasts. And one thing that bothers me is that there is no podcast that's dedicated to roadside attractions. I feel like that's a massive void that's left out there. So if anyone would please start a podcast dedicated to roadside attractions, I'd really appreciate it. And I'll be on your podcast. And anyone that has any suggestions for podcasts that I might find interesting, feel free to leave that below. I've been listening to a lot of Last Podcast on the Left. I know that's kind of not for all ages, kind of some grisly, dark material, but I find it fascinating. And also, I'm in the middle of this new podcast, S-Town, and it is about the greatest thing ever. All right, I've stopped off in Lizard Lick, North Carolina for a little pit stop. And right here, across the way, is Lizard Lick Towing. And for those of you who are familiar, that is the home and subject of the world's fakest reality show. It's like, you know, all reality shows are fake to some degree, but yeah, that's, I would say go watch some clips online if you haven't seen it. It's actually pretty funny. This ATM machine actually has a lizard up on top of it. Celebrate the town of Lizard Lick. What do you call those type of hats? It's like one of those hats that old-timey politicians wear. Here's the lovely Lizard Lick pub. They're really seem to be going with this lizard theme. Check that over there, that Confederate flag. I've seen that before. That's one of the scariest versions where it shows skeleton zombie Confederates rising from the grave to kill Yankees like me. Hey, check this out. That is Daniel Boone. A carving or a concrete sculpture of some sort with his coonskin cap. Now, for what I understand, that is Daniel Boone. I always get Daniel Boone and Davy Crockett confused for some reason. Is there some... I don't know why I get them confused. Does anyone else have the same problem of constantly confusing Daniel Boone and Davy Crockett? And isn't that really weird looking? You know, there's so many cool things along the American roadside that sometimes, for the sake of time, you do have to make decisions on what you truly want to see. But there's one thing I will always break for. And yes, the one thing the Carpetbagger will always stop for is Mr. Paul Bunyan. Normally, Paul Bunyan is seen in tourist destinations in the Midwest, in Minnesota or Wisconsin. That is actually a muffler man. And that babe, that looks like an original creation, although I don't know what babe is eating there. It's got an E on it. It's a board. Maybe he's eating one of these log cabins that's being sold here at this log cabin dealership. But so cool. Look at that American flag flapping behind Paul and Babe. Huge fan of Paul Bunyan. I just love that sort of folklore and mythology, that over-the-top sort of storytelling. And I just feel like him and Johnny Appleseed, just kind of two sides of the American coin. Paul Bunyan being this larger-than-life individual who just does anything is possible, nothing is too big, nothing is too insane, while Johnny Appleseed, you know, embodies that spirit of just kind of like quiet contemplation, of searching for something, for spreading his seed and adventure. Love these guys. Now, can we all agree that Virginia has the creepiest state motto of any state? Virginia is for lovers. Okay, it is a weird state motto, but it's better than my home state of Indiana, which motto is, nothing to see here, move along. All right, we are in our nation's capital of Washington, D.C. Of course, I'm here. I was here searching desperately for a parking spot. And look at this street. There's back-in parking only. Your car has to be backed in diagonally into these spaces. What? Why? Why can't you just put them in normal, like a normal car? Why would they do this? What kind of a city would make things unnecessarily complicated for no reason and have it benefit no one? Oh yeah, that's right. But anyways, I am on a mission here. Once upon a time, I ate the greatest hamburger of my entire life, and it was right here in Washington, D.C. at a place known as Ray's Hellburger, and it was indeed one of the best meals I've ever had, and definitely the best hamburger. But on that particular day, I had gone 24 hours without eating, and had spent the entire day walking through Arlington Cemetery in the freezing rain. So I worry that that may have skewed my opinion, but I'm back at Ray's Hellburger, and I'm going to eat the Hellburger and determine once and for all if it is indeed the best burger in the world. Alright, we're off to a good start. Alright, now last time I was here I got the bone marrow burger, which was delicious, but they actually don't serve that anymore. This is a Cajun style burger. Let's see if this is any good. Seriously, back in parking. What is this madness? Alright, so that burger was completely amazing. Almost as good as I remember. Starving half to death does make it taste a little better than it is, but it was extremely satisfying. One of the best burgers I've ever had. Probably my favorite burger. I'll go with my favorite burger for now until I change my mind. And tonight, I'm staying at the Sheraton. It's really, you know, places like this, like Washington, D.C., where I have a lot of hotel rooms, sometimes you can get really good deals on like Priceline or Hotels.com. Just important, you know, if you find good deals that you look up the hotel on TripAdvisor or something, make sure it's not nasty. But yeah, sometimes if you just keep an eye out and are really careful, you can get really good deals. The difference between this and the Red Roof Inn that I stayed at last night is only like $10, $15, so I'm impressed. So anyway, oh, I got a freaking parking ticket for the back-end parking. I didn't know it wasn't for me. I don't even really understand why I got a parking ticket. Again, Washington, D.C. Can you do anything right? See you guys tomorrow.